Welcome to the very first programme of Come By, proper sheepdog trialling again on television, and it's fantastic to be back. We're here at the Irish National Sheepdog Trials, can't pronounce the name without reading it, at Tullastrain, near the village of Clare in County Sligo. Fantastic area. Over there, the Ox Mountains, you can't see it because it's hidden in mist. They've had 5 weeks of rain. It's going to be really testing. 150 competitors with their dogs. I hope you enjoy it. I will enjoy it. It's going to be a really good competition. County Sligo is in northwest Ireland, an area of rough farmland with sheep and cattle, but not much arable. There seems to be plenty of money around, with new houses springing up everywhere. The tiny village of Tullastrain boasts a hurling team, a Gaelic football team and a pub appropriately called the Border Collie. The Ox Mountains are home to its own breed of sheep. They're black-faced, horned and rangy animals which the locals usually cross with a Suffolk or a Cheviot. We shall be using these throughout the 3-day event, which despite the foot and mouth restrictions was able to go ahead pretty much as planned. For each run, a packet of 5 sheep, 2 of them marked with red collars, are released at one end of the trial field. Much depends on the character of these sheep and how they respond to the dogs. These showed early on that they weren't going to be a pushover. The one thing a dog mustn't do in sheepdog trialling is get frustrated and grip the sheep. That is, to give them a bite. It only rarely happens, but when it does, it means instant disqualification. Every run is watched by 2 hawk-eyed judges who each mark the run out of a total of 110, making 220 points the maximum that can possibly be scored. The early run set a pretty high standard for those to follow. The first man out, John Rooney with Faye, scoring an impressive 180. At stake over the next 3 days isn't just becoming the overall champion of Ireland. The top 15 dogs and their handlers will also represent Ireland in the international trials later in the year. And talking of the dogs, Sheepdog Society rules only allow one breed to take part. At last, on this first day of the Irish National, the sun's come out. We can see the Ox Mountains, and a fine sight they are. And the rain stopped just in time for the only woman to compete at this year's Irish National, Susanne Lejuez with Cap. She comes from Donegal, although Susan's not Irish, she's Dutch. An unusual story of which more later. And Cap has gone to the right. And I think those who sent it right have had better outruns during the day. Keeping well overlooked to the fence, that is good. Looks almost perfect to me. And you can see that at the post, by standing on the steps, they get a very, very good view of what the dog is doing. And Cap is doing very well. 39 out of 40 for the outrun, and the lift also very nearly perfect. 19 out of 20. Superb start. Nice speed. Only she can get that. Look at that. Don't they look beautiful, those sheep? Black faces all together. Very, very nice breed. Zigzagging a little, but good speed. Steady pace, that is what you want. Whoops, we got a bit out of kilter here, look. But just in. Ground's still very wet. Making very good progress. What a pretty dog. See the mountains in the background now. That is great, it's concentrating. 5.5-year-old dog, so it's experienced, and I think this experience is showing. Brought them up to the post really well, and they've gone round well. Watching these dogs has made me want to get a collie again. It's a good round. Now to the first drive gate. We've got a bit of a wriggle on here. Come on, Cap. He's got to move. He's done it. It is incredible. When you see a good round, it makes you realise just how good these handlers and the dogs are. He's overcompensated there. Lost a point or two. The whole thing ought to be as smooth as possible. Good speed. Swallows are flying again. Right through the middle. That was a butterfly too. That is incredible. With all that rain, how on earth do they survive a storm like that? So fragile. I love butterflies. Here we come, up to the shedding ring. The drive was good, 46 out of 60. Could have been better. Now can we see a good shed? Susan looks very determined. 2 without a collar. They're positioned quite well. And there. Straight in. Okay. That was a good one. Odd, that was very quickly, but the judges have deducted 5 points. I have to confess, don't understand why. I thought that was a really, really good shed. But what do I know about it? Got them lined up very well for the pen. Oh, I thought they were, but it slowed down. Cap is tense. Hey, that dog was patient. He did very well. And they've gone in. Yeah, Susan slams it shut. I think she thought she was a bit lucky there. She was going to get more resistance. 17 out of 20. That was good. Now we've just got to get the single. 1 red collar. Huh. I don't know how she's going to do it at the moment. They're looking at Cap. She's creeping up behind. There, wasn't that simple? She made that look very easy, and it wasn't.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen. I'm told it's a Dutch lady running for Ireland. Go on, show an appreciation there for a good run.
That was a very, very good round. 177 points, moving her into 4th place. Yeah, she's got a smile. Justified too.
Next to run, Thomas.
I am very pleased.
Any hiccups? I thought he was slow on the outrun a bit.
He's not, he's not the fastest of dogs, but as long as he runs out well, I'm pleased. As long as he takes his distance from the sheep going around them, I'm pleased with him. And apart from that, the single, that was my fault.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
Why? What did you do wrong?
I asked him in a gap that he's a very, very good shedder, and I asked the impossible of him. I asked him in a wee gap, and before he even could come in, the gap disappeared. It was just just didn't do too well.
Now, I can understand you better than anybody else here this afternoon. You're not Irish, are you?
I'm not, no, I'm Dutch.
And what makes a Dutch girl run sheepdogs in Ireland?
Well, I went to the World Trial in Tullamore, and I met a man, James McCaffrey, and fell in love and ended up here, living here.
But how did you become in love with sheepdog trialing?
When I was 5, I saw one man and his dog on television, and my mum and me were living in Holland, in Amsterdam, and I took a notion that I wanted to do that when I grew up. So as soon as I turned 18, I bought my first dog, and got a book, and took the book to the field, and lent a couple of sheep and tried it out.
And so what is the great appeal of sheepdogs?
I always loved dogs, and I always loved animals, full stop, and started working on a sheep farm in Holland, and just loved sheep as well, and loved working them, and loved to get to know how to work a sheepdog. I think it's something that's very, very unusual, very special when you get a dog to run well for you. It's real satisfaction.
And the name of the dog you've run today? What is it?
It's Shep, but officially on the card it's Cap.
I don't understand that. I'm a simple country boy. Can you explain it to me?
I bought him when he was 6 months old, and the man I bought him from, he said, I think his name is Shep, but I don't have the card yet. So when I got the card 6 months later, it said Cap, but then I was calling him Shep for, 6 months, and I thought, well, I'll just leave it at that.
And so being Dutch, do you want to represent Ireland in the international?
Yes.
And with that score of 177, she must stand a very good chance. So how does a Dutch lady celebrate a good run at the Irish National? Silly question. We've had a great day's competition. We've had tears, we've had laughter, we've had sunlight, we've had downpours. We can see the Ox Mountains over there. The car park looks like a paddy field, and I wasn't the first one to say paddy field in Ireland. I'm now going off to find something that somebody said was called a Guinness. After the downpours of the first day, cars were having to be towed into the ground, and then once they'd managed to park, spectators were greeted by a quagmire. A few bales of straw were unravelled to help soak up the mud for a while, but it was definitely going to be a day for Wellington boots. This is Susanne Lejuez, the only woman to run in this year's Irish National. Susan's Dutch, but lives in Donegal. On the first day, everything went well for her and she scored 177 points, putting her in 4th position. Today, she's running a very experienced 9-year-old bitch, Gail, but it's proving much tougher. So tough. There you are, they're in, but the whole round has been painfully slow and she's running out of time. And it looks as if the sheep want to run out the ring. She's got 15 minutes in all, but she hasn't got a lot of time left. And so Gail has got to help her, and she's got to be lucky with these sheep. It is amazing. Some days it looks easy, and the next day disaster. Gail's another tricoloured bitch. She's got the sheep almost in the... And now they've split. She's got to keep them together. That one doesn't want to play. She's looking a bit agitated. She's not as calm as she was yesterday. But she's got a very experienced dog. The sheep are not lining up for her. The clock is ticking. And the more agitated a handler gets, somehow the sheep know. Whoops, that one just doesn't want to cooperate at all. Wants to go home, doesn't want to play sheepdog trialling.
Bad luck, Susan. Beaten by the clock.
Susan, day 1 you had a really good round. Day 2, what happened?
A bit of a disaster, to be honest. It just didn't go well for me.
Why was that?
I had a packet of sheep that didn't work well for me. My dog didn't work well. So the combined situation made it not good.
But you had a very experienced dog.
She's 9 years old. She's normally a very good dog or a very good bitch and does well. But she's just after pupping and just the pup's weaned of her and she's taken a couple of notions that don't help you on the trial field.
She couldn't get them through the gates.
I know. She wasn't taking her commands right and she wasn't in contact with her sheep on the fetch, which meant for me that I couldn't do too much about it. She just wasn't working together with me and she just drove them past them and did that both times. Cross drive gates and the fetch gate, so didn't leave me with a good round.
But you're still right near the top on your first round.
I'm not so bad, but there's plenty of runners to go yet, plenty of big names, so it's all in trailing.
Well done yesterday, bad luck today. Back to the beer tent.
It is. It's the best place to be at the moment.
What an absolutely brilliant competition. I can say the tension was so great that you could cut it. The most exciting sheepdog trial I've ever been to. Roll on Wales. If it's half as good, it'll be a cracker. We want to find out now who the Welsh champion is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the trials here in County Sligo end with a uniquely Irish tradition, as all the competitors line up to congratulate the 15 who will represent Ireland at the international trials later in the year. A nice touch.